my name is Taylor Rose and welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything reading and writing. Today we are back with some fresh off the press book community drama. Last week, I would say a pretty big book talker made an interesting post on her Instagram, which conveniently has much less followers than her TikTok. So I first caught wind of this situation with this post from Cat Book Dragon. Did you just admit on your story to faking reviews to get a better ratio and get more arcs? Is this common? I've got friends who bust their asses to read arcs and give an honest review. When I get an arc, I actually frickin' read the book. I thought that was what you were supposed to do. And she provided 2 screenshots from the Instagram story where this book influencer, Crooked Books, said, time to BS some reviews for books way past due that I'm not getting to anytime soon to up my percentage. Don't judge me, you do this also. Okay. Her second post on her story is her feedback ratio, which has risen to 84%, with her comment, much better. So if you don't know, NetGalley is a website where authors, publishers can basically find people who do book reviews to send ARCs to, which is an advanced reader copy. So this is usually the final version of the book, subject to change. They are labeled advanced reader copy because the final product that hits the shelves could be different, but generally speaking, they're pretty close to the final product. And it is a way for authors to get reviews started before the book actually releases, to garner interest, kind of like a movie trailer does, or like, early showings for film critics to get some buzz going for movies or TV shows. It is up to the users on NetGalley to apply for different books, at which point, behind the scenes, whoever's in charge is reviewing them, saying, okay, send the arc to this, them, they, that person, wherever. I believe that they can also reach out to you if they like your profile, but generally it is the reviewer reaching out for books that they're interested in. From what I understand, obviously, they try generally to stick to people who like the type of book that is being released. Obviously, like if I were on NetGalley, I would clearly state that I am not interested in contemporary fiction because I don't like the genre very much. I like a little more escapism. And, consequently, I don't give contemporary fiction very high reviews because I personally don't like it. The review or the rating does take into account the reader's overall experience, their feelings about the book. Regardless, it could be, it could be the most well-written book ever. I don't really know how you would quantify that, but it could be the best book ever written, and there's going to be somebody who just doesn't like the content, regardless of writing style, construction, yada, yada, yada. So someone went onto Crooked Books NetGalley and found the review in question. Libro Vermo says, here's her review, by the way. She has a media journalist account, which makes it even weirder that she cares about her ratio because librarians and booksellers can have absolute garbage ratios and still get tons of books. And I assume it's the same for people in media. She gave the fake rating of 4 stars and said, this was such a unique story. I don't know if I can compare it to anything to it. Okay. I'm excited to see how this author concludes the duology. I don't know. It's a choice to also have a grammatical error in your fake review. Shocking. Obviously, NetGalley's not paid. You're receiving a book for free in exchange for a review. They can't do anything if you don't give a review, like that is against FTC guidelines for this type of activity, but they can lower your rating on the site for whether or not you're actually reading the books and reviewing them. Read with Cat 907 says, don't judge me, you do this too. I literally don't, so I will judge. A higher rating is recommended but not required. I got requests approved at 50% because they liked my previous reviews. Good, thoughtful reviews are better than high feedback ratio. Also, the only reason she wants to get that rating up is to request more books. Will she read them? Probably not, if she doesn't have time to get to the ones she already has. Literary Dark Fae says this is not appropriate at all. It makes sense people lose so much trust in reviews. Be humble, take arcs slowly, take breaks from arcs, and don't burn out into lying. This is not a norm for people who respect arc reading. Ideally, you would finish your review before the book reaches publication or shortly thereafter. That is the intention with giving out arcs from the publisher or the author's side. From the reviewer side, there's not really a time limit. You know, obviously, they can't do anything to you. She could very well read the book and give an actual review. Nothing stopping her. There's not a time limit. But she chose to fake it. Okay. Christine the Book Dragon says, I suspect she's not the only one, unfortunately. Reviews that just repeat the synopsis and only give surface level opinions always make me wonder. Cat Book Dragon responds, I'm certain more people do it. If there is a system in place, people will find a way to cheat it. But like, if you are cheating it, why say that? Why post it to your following of 16,000 on Instagram? She's since taken the stories down, but enough people sent it to me that it's definitely been noticed. Yeah, it always shocks me when people out their bad behavior on the internet and then are shocked that there are repercussions. Well, Crooked Books did release sort of an apology, more Instagram stories. I realized my previous story, it no longer up, came out, it really bad taste. I didn't think before posting, and that's 100% on me. I was clearing out some archived book I didn't know were there that I could no longer download. I'm sorry if that story has caused a loss of trust. I never post unauthentic reviews on my TikTok IG. The moment someone brought to my attention how it came off, I immediately took it down. I'm human, I make mistakes, and I'm deeply sorry about that. There was literally zero other way to interpret her post. Like, I'm not crazy. It was pretty straightforward. I'm making fake reviews. Okay. In almost all influencer programs, they attach NetGalley books to be downloaded in one click, which is super easy to hit while scrolling without meaning to, and they go through the cracks. I rarely request digital books anymore because it's hard to guarantee and post for an ebook. I do everything I can to post about all I receive. NetGalley also doesn't connect at all to getting physical copies. I read all day, every day. There's rarely a moment that I don't have an audio on. I do my very best to get to everything. No one wishes more than that I could read every single book I'm sent. This is 100% on me and me alone. I'm sorry and we'll never do this again. I didn't think and we'll make sure this doesn't happen again. I understand requesting books because you can be rejected if you apply for an ARC. So I can understand, oh, I applied to too many and now I'm overwhelmed. Like, that's a lot of books that I'm now feeling obligated to read. But clearly she's reading other books. I don't know. Silver Hill Creative says, requesting an ARC, then not reading it, then deciding to fake a review, then posting 2 stories about it. That's at least 4 deliberate choices, not a one-time oopsie. A love store ad. Agreed. She made a choice to type those stories out. The one and only Lyra reads, and the I don't post inauthentic reviews to Instagram, TikTok, so you do post them on NetGalley then. The only reason she apologized is because people were calling her out. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Just a reminder, screenshots are forever. Posting a story that you BS reviews, and then even showing that it boosted your NetGalley percentage is gross. And then to lie and say, it was a mistake. Clearing out some archived books. No, you meant exactly what you said. I agree, there was not another way to interpret her post. Absolutely wild. Oh, that took me a minute to read her name. The Bookish Oasis says, of course it was the chick with 15 copies of Fourth Wing. Why is it that lately some big accounts be acting up? Pissed off that I get rejected for ARCs as a not yet big enough creator, just so someone like this gets it. Some people see rage bait and decide to act on the rage bait. So Crooked Books did post a follow-up on Threads, but it's literally the same text that she put in her stories. Carly's Growing TBR had a response to her apology. This is so full of lies. When publishers send widgets, it's a multi-step process to download the book. You have to click the widget, click on Read Now, and then click how you want the book sent to you, whether it be Kindle, Kobo, etc. Even if you do not immediately download it, it's still a 2-step process, not a one-click and done. Even if you were clearing out like you claim, that still means you're writing reviews that you did not read the book for, since you admit you never download. By the Stars says, nah, you said you were BSing your way through reviews and that others do too. What a slap in the face to each author and book you've gotten an ARC from. My Reading Escape says, oh heck no, you weren't clearing out some archived books. That would simply mean deleting them. You very clearly said you were going to BS some reviews to get your percentage up. You're just trying to cover your butt and save face here, right? An honest apology would mean honestly owning up to what you did, not further BSing and making up false excuses. Honestly, at this point, NetGalley should deactivate your account. Yikes. Based on the bookcase, made a post with, she has a screenshot blocking Crooked Books on TikTok. And you can see in the screenshot, at that time, at least, she had 202,000 followers on TikTok. Look, I'm not saying you should do the same, but I do believe in accountability and the deplatforming of creators who hurt the community. So I blocked Sarah so she will never monetarily benefit from my views, nor will I help her algorithm look enticing to influencer programs. So a lot of the people defending Crooked Books are saying it's not that serious. She's not being paid for the reviews. The books are free, yada yada. I think Space on the Bookcase has a very good point. Clearly, Crooked Books has a lot of followers. She's making money from posting her TikTok content, which is using books that now, as just a random person in the world, personally, I would not believe anything this person ever posts again. My remarkable book life says, done the same. I wish people would stop uplifting grifters and crappy influencers. Influencer marketing has ruined online communities and many times in-person spaces. / communities as well. Monetizing hobbies into careers has created very negative online spaces. The mental health issues coming out of influencer online activity is a serious issue. The block is power. We should all use that power more often to curate positive community spaces. I agree. You know, as someone who doesn't really use TikTok, I've just recently started scrolling around. Almost all the content I get on my feed is either people trying to sell me something, a sad story about an abused or deceased animal, which makes me cry, and I don't like it. Or it's, you know, people posting their business on the internet that really shouldn't be there. Like divorced parents fighting over video, basically. There's a lot of them. I am not sure how to read her name. Ray St. Lynn, Reddit, says, I'm so not even gonna lie. In my publishing capstone during my last semester of college, I used the fake NetGalley reviewer's account as a visual example of how overconsumption via expected virality is turning publishing into something akin to fast fashion, which is a whole other thread I will not get into here. She's always seemed to me to be about the hype of reading rather than reading itself. Crooked Books is also the influencer who posted a photo of all of her Fourth Wing special editions. She had at least 15, but I did find this video of her on TikTok posting all of her copies of books from that series. And I counted over 40. I don't want to come off the wrong way, but I don't know why all of a sudden there are special editions of literally every single book coming out. All over threads or people fighting over these like special edition fairy loot and book crate, whatever special editions coming out. I can understand like when a series ends, releasing a collection of those books together, or, you know, it's like a special anniversary of the book or a specific milestone or something. But it just seems like now they are releasing special editions because this book's popular. Let's make a fancy new cover for it. How many copies of a book do you need? Like, you know, okay, so you see my bookshelf here. These are Japanese textbooks. These are just random books I have. 2 books my grandma gave me, some textbooks from college, more stuff that I used in college, Anna Karenina for some reason. I only got halfway through it. And then up here are books that I bought in Japan, and then printed versions of Under the Oak Tree, which is a Korean web novel webcomic. That's all I have. And realistically, you know, most of these, I guess there's that American Girl book, but most of these were bought for educational purposes. You know, pretty much all of these, minus a few gifts. These I bought from fun, but still educational. They were for me to study Japanese while I lived in Japan. I don't really get the allure of having so many physical books. All of her content is just this full wall, floor to ceiling bookshelves that are crooked. Hence her name, Crooked Books. And all I can think is, what if you have to move? And this is probably, like, I'm probably biased because, you know, I left home, went to college, you're moving dorm, apartment, whatever. Then I graduated, moved back home for 6 months, moved across the ocean to a foreign country, came back, and now I'm married to a guy in the military. Like, I will probably never be in a place for more than a few years having that many books. Like, moving, there's a weight limit based on your rank. So, you know, if I filled this bookshelf with books, I hope to get rid of them the next time I move. So I personally just don't understand the allure. Like, I collect small things. I collect little pin badges of places I go. I think my opinion is a little colored by the fact that as a child, also, my mom did not allow me to get physical books. She bought me a few. I did have Twilight in hardcover, but almost all the books that I read physically were from her classroom or from the school library, the town library. I would finish a book in a day, and she was like, "You're reading these too fast for me to spend." You know, it's a lot of money. I was a very prolific reader as a child. So I would go to the library on Saturday, get 6 or 7 books. Next Saturday, I was back for another 6 or 7 books. Like, clearly, like, you know, you're so blessed to be able to spend that much money on things that you're not even going to use. But I did see this TikTok as I was scrolling, and I felt like she had a really good point. So let's watch a little bit of it.
Got caught faking reviews, and I don't know about you, but I am not surprised. First off, anyone who's ultra obsessed with Fourth Wing, immediately a little suspicious.
I do kind of agree. I have not read the Fourth Wing series myself, but I have watched multiple people's reviews of the book. Reads with Rachel, Crimson Rogue. They have extremely long, detailed explanations for why the book isn't bad. I cling to their stealing Gallic names, and people are convinced. Like, I saw a post that basically said, "I love fantasy names like Imogene." It's not a fantasy name. And it listed a bunch of other names from Fourth Wing. It's like, those aren't fantasy names. Those are from a real culture that this author just co-opted. A. B. In the second book, there's apparently a dragon-proof city. And maybe the reviews were like trying to be purposefully misleading, but I have a hard time believing that so many people are praising this world building when there is a dragon-proof city made completely of wood, when these dragons breathe fire. And of course, the dragon gets surprised, breathes fire, and burns down the town. Crazy! Like, nation for why? Okay, but neither review addressed that, so I'm believing that it probably wasn't addressed ever.
But she posted something about Firebird, and a lot of people were questioning why she didn't mention some very key details, and it turns out she didn't read it.
Firebird is a book that was released earlier this year that in the marketing material, in the blurb, it does not mention at all that this is a slave-master romance. Which, you know, for a good reason, upset a lot of people. I think that's one of those topics that, unless you are giving a really good reason why it's necessary, you probably shouldn't include it in a romance novel, especially a fantasy one. Like, this isn't a historical novel. It's, you know, supposed to be in like a version of Rome. This isn't a historical novel analyzing like social norms in a historical society or something. This is a fantasy book where the guy can turn into a dragon and stuff, and it's just turning like a really serious topic kind of a little fetishy, in my opinion. After the backlash, they started including online this little disclaimer at the very bottom. But when it first released, a bunch of people went in blind and were like, "Whoa, I didn't sign up for that. Like, that's not something I want in a romance novel." You know? Various people have various lines they won't cross, right? Cheating, great fantasies, yada yada. So it is very telling that she gave a review that didn't cover what was a very large topic at the time.
And yesterday, she admitted, and kind of lumped everyone in together, saying that she fakes her reviews on NetGalley. This is so messed up for so many people. It's messed up to other reviewers. It's messed up to the publishing companies. It's messed up to the authors, the indie authors, NetGalley, everyone who basically operates on this trust.
Right, exactly. This influencer is receiving so many benefits because she is essentially promising something. Like, obviously, there's no, like, legal repercussions for not doing the book review, but there are social expectations.
You know, sometimes we don't get around to reading and reviewing. I'm not perfect. I'm at like a 49%, I think, or something like that. But it would never, ever cross my mind to fake a review. God knows how many reviews she has faked. How many art she has gotten based off those reviews that aren't real. That she just faked. And listen, you can collect books and not read them. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people like that. But don't collect books and fake that you read them, because it's a big slap in the face to everyone else in the book community, the authors and the publishers who are trusting you to critique and give them feedback on their work.
Yeah. You know, I thought she had a really well-spoken explanation for why this is a questionable situation all around. Her name is Taylor Collects. At the end of the day, I don't think this is really that surprising, considering, for example, Michaela Noguera earlier this year was advertising a mascara. She was reviewing a mascara and she snuck false lashes on. It is the unfortunate reality that people are going to take advantage of systems to receive clout. Like, if there's some sort of financial compensation involved, there's always going to be people who lie. You know, she's not being monetarily reimbursed specifically for these NetGalley arcs, but it still stands. I do think it's weird that she specifies physical versus ebook, because then it's clear you're just asking for arcs so you have the newest book to hold up on camera. It just makes it really obvious that this is all about optics versus like genuinely wanting to share your thoughts on books. Interesting look into the lives of big Booktok influencers, I guess. That's all for now. See you next time.